Hey everyone, it's a Fallen Ranger. On December 9th, it's time for another episode of Fallen Ranger Sports. So this one, we are previewing Boise State men's basketball's home game tomorrow night, December 10th, as we'll be taking on Duquesne University. Last time out, as mentioned in the previous episode about men's basketball, they took on and got a major road win against a very talented, then top 50, well actually top 25, Butler. Now they will be taking on Duquesne tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Broncos are currently 6-3 on the year. Boise State right now is 49th in KenPom rankings. And they're favored against 143rd ranked Duquesne by a margin of 13 points, 80-67. Both the Broncos and Duquesne are 6-3 on this season. Duquesne beat Niagara, Sacred Heart, and Queens. They lost against Villanova. They won against Loyola, Maryland, lost against Northwestern in neutral site, won against Central State at home in non-Division I game, then lost at home against William Mary, won at home against Stony Brook, and they're doing a 2-game West Coast swing basically because after they play us tomorrow, they'll be taking on Nevada on the road, then they'll hold Canisius at home. Then they'll take Clear at home in a non-Division I game. They'll take on Davidson on the road, VCU at home, St. Joseph's on the road, Dayton at home, Fordham on the road, St. Louis at home, Loyola Chicago on the road, St. Bonaventure at home, Rhode Island at home, George Mason on the road, George Washington at home, St. Bonaventure at the road, LaSalle at home, Dayton on the road, Davidson at home, St. Louis on the road, Rhode Island on the road, and Richmond at home. Right now, KenPom has them sitting at 15-16 on the year and 7-11 in conference play. Again, they predict the loss to us tomorrow, loss to Nevada, win against Canisius, auto win against non-Division I opponent Cleary, loss at Davidson, loss at home against VCU, loss at St. Joseph's, loss at home against Dayton, win on the road at Fordham, loss at home against St. Louis, win on the road at Loyola Chicago, loss at home against St. Bonaventure, loss at home against Rhode Island, loss on the road at George Mason, loss at home against George Washington, loss on the road against St. Bonaventure, win at home against LaSalle, loss on the road at Dayton, win at home against Davidson, loss at St. Louis, loss at Rhode Island, and a loss at home on Richmond of their senior day, or senior game. They're the Duquesne Dukes. In terms of the net rankings, that were games played through yesterday, so was updated this morning, early this morning. Broncos right now at 49th in the net, and Duquesne is 182nd, so this is like a Q3, Q4 game. We're now against Duquesne right now in terms of some preview stuff. Again, the game is going to be available on the Mountain West Network, KBY FM 93.1. Since when this game is going to be on the AM band, this will be the first time the two programs will meet on the hardwood. The Broncos have played 10 times against members of the Atlantic 10 Conference and have gone 5-5. But since the 22-23 campaign, the Broncos have won 4 straight against the A10. Also note another thing that turns out to be significant about Butler is that was the 300th win for Boise State men's basketball while being a member of the Mountain West Conference since the start of the 2011-2012 season. Only San Diego State has more wins in the same time frame, 356. Since joining the Mountain West, the Broncos have won 83 non-con home games and amassed a 91.2 win percentage in the non-conference home games. Right now, this is potentially can be viewed maybe as a bit of a trap game, since on Sunday the Broncos will be playing St. Mary's, a neutral site game in Idaho Falls. Right now, St. Mary's is currently number 15th in the nation in the net rankings. So again, last game they had a very notable major win that probably put them on an emotional high for their massive win at Butler. Then they played Duquesne, who arguably they should beat pretty handily. Then you take on a real talented, really good, highly ranked in net rankings St. Mary's. That does make a bit of a recipe that, maybe this might be somewhat closer to like a Hawaii Pacific game where they just roll the ball out and expect to be dominating from tip-off, and sometimes that's not always the case. So hopefully they'll be much prepared and much more focused and ready to go for this game compared to that opening game. And speaking of which, I'm just pulling up my phone to see if there's a Vegas line on the Score app. Right now, the Score app, according to ESPN Bet, has the Broncos winning by 14.5 points. So far in this season, the Broncos have 4 players that have scored at least 100 points so far. That number is tied with Colorado State and Air Force for the most amongst Mountain West teams. And 3 current Bronco players right now have scored at least 600 points in their collegiate careers. That being Dylan Andrews with 866, Dominic Perlin with 831, and Andrew Meadow with 693. Right now, with that said, let's look at their opponent, the Duquesne Dukes. Already went over their schedule, so we'll look at the roster. Starting off, it's redshirt junior guard, 6 foot, 190 pound, number 0, Brandon Hall, out of Chicago, Illinois. Previously played for Howard College. Then it's senior guard, number 1, Terrence Guignard. Who is a 6'2", 270 pounder, number 1, a senior from Tampa, Florida, has also played for UTM as well. Then it's senior forward, 6'9", 230 pounder, number 2, David Dixon, out of Memphis, Tennessee. Then it's junior guard, 6'5", 210-pounder, number 3, Jimmy Williams. Hails from Solon, Ohio. Appears to play for South Florida. Then it's grad transfer for number 4, John Hugley IV, 6'10", 265-pounder. Hails from Cleveland, Ohio. Previously played for Xavier University. Then it's redshirt senior transfer guard, 6'5", 25-pounder, number 5, Cam Crawford. Hails from Birmingham, Alabama. Previously played for Marshall. Then it's grad transfer forward, 6'5", 225-pounder, number 6, Alex Williams, out of Dayton, Ohio. Previously played for Furman. Then it's freshman guard, 5'10", 155-pounder, number 7, Dom Akins. Hails from Columbus, Ohio. And it's freshman guard, 6'2", 180-pounder, number 8, Arnes Lawson from Columbus, Ohio. Junior forward, 6'10", 240-pounder, number 9, Jacob Nisas, out of Blansko, Czech Republic. Then it's freshman forward, 6'10", 210-pounder, number 17, Frederick Jellum, out of Copenhagen, Denmark. Redshirt sophomore transfer center, 6'10", 265-pounder, number 18, Stefan Bussel, out of Omel, Netherlands. Previously played for Charleston. Redshirt senior transfer guard, 6'5", 214-pounder, number 22, Maximus Edwards, out of Stratford, Connecticut. Previously played for George Washington. That name probably will sound a little familiar if you watched a team vid last year. Not sure I might be playing the game, but in the college basketball crown, after the Broncos lost in the conference title game to Colorado State, in the quarterfinal matchup of the college basketball crown, the Broncos played George Washington University, and he did play on that and in that game. I forget what he did in that game, but I think a lot of the returning players remember him a little bit from that game, and have tape on him from that game too. Then his freshman forward, 6'10", 258-pounder, number 27, Lazar Milosevic, out of Bileca, Republika Srpska. Then it's junior guard, 6'2", 178-pounder, number 31, Seamus McDermott, out of Holland, Pennsylvania. Redshirt sophomore guard, 6'1", 187-pounder, number 32, Ethan Anish, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Junior transfer guard, 6'2", 185-pounder, number 33, Lucas Prola, out of Porto Alegre, Brazil. Previously played for Missouri State West Plains. And redshirt sophomore guard, 6'4", 185-pounder, number 44, Jake DeMichel, out of McNeese Rocks, Pennsylvania. Head coach is Drew Joyce III. This is his second season as Duquesne's head coach, fourth overall with the program. Before that, he spent 3 years at Cleveland State. And he played for Akron, Ohio. Or Akron University, and played in Europe for 12 years before he started coaching at Cleveland State. So he's still relatively new in the coaching department. Up next is assistant coach Julian Sullinger. This is his second season with the program. He graduated from Kent State in 2010. Spent 7 years at Kent State before joining Duquesne in May of 2024. He spent 4 years in 2013 to 17 at Tiffin, and then he joined the coaching staff at Kent State at his alma mater. So he also is still relatively young in his coaching career as well. Assistant coach Rick McFadden. This is his 9th year with Duquesne. He graduated from Akron in 2005. He's been coaching for 19 years. He's only coached for Akron and Duquesne. Then it's Jordan Talley as an assistant coach. His alma mater is Southeastern. This is his first year with Duquesne. Just joined this June. He spent the last 3 years as player development with the University of Florida. That he spent 2 years as a grad assistant at James Madison. Assistant coach Ari Stern. This is his 3rd season as assistant coach, 6th overall with Duquesne. Alma mater is the College of Worcester, 2018. He had a little gap because he spent 2020-21 seasons as a GA and 2022 campaign as assistant AD/basketball administration at Duquesne, and rejoined the Dukes in July of 23. In the 22-23 year, he was basketball operations director of the University of Denver. Before he initially joined Duquesne in 2020, he was a player development intern for the Dallas Mavericks as well. And then it's Chase Goldstein. This is his 2nd year with Duquesne. He was at Florida Gulf Coast in 2016. Well, that's his alma mater, I should say. Before that, he was at University of Missouri, Director of Operations, and was Chief of Staff 23-24 season. Before joining Missouri, he spent 3 years at Cleveland State as well. The Director of Basketball Operations is Derek Artias. Grad Assistant is Chukwudalu Ekbijiogu. Sports Staff Associate Athletic Director, Sports Med and Performance is John Henderson. Sports Performance Coach Presley Gouge, Program Assistant Josh McCray, and Student Manager Tristan Metz. In terms of stats, first off, as a team, they've scored 781 points. They average 87 points per game. And they've allowed 720 points, or opponents score 80 points per game. So this is a team that can offensively score pretty good. They are 275 out of 535 from the floor for 51%. They average 31 made field goals per game. Defensively, they've allowed 240 out of 542 attempts, or 44%, or 27 made field goals per game. 3-point range here, 77 of 218 for 35%, or 8.6 made threes per game. Defensively, they've allowed 75 out of 228 attempts for 33%, and 8.3 allowed three-pointers per game. Shooting stripe is somewhere they do have some struggles. They have made 154 out of 224 attempts for 69%, averaging 17 made threes per game, or made free throws per game. In terms of rebounding, they have 323 total boards, just a hair under 36 boards per game. They've given up 301 boards, or 33 boards per game. 155 assists, 17 per game. 141 turnovers, nearly 16 turnovers per game. They average 15.8 points off turnovers per game. Defensively, they forced 131 turnovers, or 14.6 turnovers by their opponents so far this season. And they have only allowed opponents to score 16.8 points off of Duquesne turnovers per game. They have 72 steals on the year, 8 per game, 22 block shots, or 2.4 block shots per game. In terms of player stats, Terrence Gilniard has started every game, 31.2 minutes per game, 49.94 for 52% overall. 16 to 30 for 42% for 3, 39 to 55 for 71% for shooting strip. So a really good shooter for them. Some the Broncos cannot leave open. Basically have to face guard him every second. Definitely can't allow him to be shooting wide open from 3. He averages 17 points per game, 29 boards, 24 fouls, 48 assists, 22 turnovers, and 14 steals on the season. So active with the hands. Broncos had to be mindful of that. John Hookley IV has started every game. 26 minutes game, 47 to 85 from the floor for 55%, 721 for 33% for 3, and 42 to 52 for 81% for Charity Stripe. 15.9 points per game, so another solid shooter for them. 16 offensive, 54 total boards, 20 fouls, 20 assists, 24 turnovers, 2 steals, 2 block shots. So some new can be prone to turnover, to turn the ball over. Jim Williams started every game, 25.3 minutes a game, 47.92 for 51% overall, 16 of 46 for 35% 3, 16.23 for 70% for 30 strips. So a really reliable shooter for Duquesne. Can't allow to be open, especially from beyond the arc. Averages 14 points per game, 5 offensive, 37 total boards, 26 fouls, 18 assists, 12 turnovers, 20 steals, and 1 block shot. So, arguably, a defensive mastermind at taking the ball away. Broncos really have to be careful in his area. Kim Crawford started every game, 25.3 minutes a game, 27.59 overall for 36%, 6-39 for 41% for finding the arc, and 6-12 for 50% from the charity stripe. So a high-level shooter. So the Broncos can allow open, period. Though he does only average 8.4 points per game. 7 offensive, 27 total boards, 19 fouls, 14 assists, 10 turnovers, 5 steals, 1 block shot. Maximus Edwards has played in 8 games this season, just under 20 minutes a game, 25-62 for 40%. Overall center with 26 with 27% for 3, 9 and 15 for 60% for charity stripe. Averages 8.3 points per game. 10 offense with 26 total boards, 7 fouls, 17 assists, 6 turnovers, 3 steals, 1 block shot. Jacob Nickas has started every game, 24.3 minutes a game, 20 of 30 for 67% overall, 4 of 11 for 36% for 3, and 20 of 29 for 69% for charity stripe. So he's someone who appears to be a really good shooter, but at the same time, and going into game number 10, doesn't really have that much reliable data. I mean, again, has only shot 30 total times, all of which were for 3. So, you're not a substantial data set so far for him in terms of really determining how good or how solid he is as a shooter. I mean, I'm guessing he's pretty dang good. Averages 7.1 points per game, 14 total, 14 offensive, 47 total boards, 20 fouls, 7 assists, 17 turnovers, 12 steals, 6 block shots. So someone who is prone to turn the ball over, but at the same time is really active on defense. Dave Dixon has played every game I should say, 18 minutes a game, 23 of 35 for 66% overall. A very low volume 3-point shooter, only 1 of 3. 9-12 from 30 stripe for 75%, 6.2 points per game. 9 offensive, 31 total boards, 25 fouls, 10 assists, 17 turnovers against someone who also has a bit of an issue with controlling the ball. 6 steals, 7 block shots, so someone who is really good at protecting the rim. Something for Chad Buchanan and some of the others, and like A.G. Nettle to keep in mind that if they're trying to drive against him, he is pretty dang good at blocking shots. Dom Akins, 9 games played, 8.2 minutes a game. So more of the deep bench. Though he has played, he has 14-26 for 54% overall, 3 of 6 from 3-point range, 3 of 5 for 60% from charity stripe. Just here under 4 points per game. 3 offensive, 9 total boards, 9 fouls, 8 assists, 6 turnovers, and 4 steals. And everyone else hasn't played in every game, nor has that many shot attempts at all or that many stats. So, yep, but we'll look at the Bronco Men. As a team, Broncos have, well, for some reason it goes to the last full season when you do the stats instead of the current year for Boise State, which is a little wonky. But now they got the right page up for that. They've scored 74 points. They're averaging 78 points per game. Which is almost 10 points per game less than Duquesne averages. But at the same time, defensively, they've only allowed 633 points, or they only allow about 70 points per game. So Broncos are really going to have to have a bit of a defensive masterclass in this game against Duquesne. Against a team that can score pretty dang good. Broncos have to beat them in shooting and defense. So far in the year, the Broncos have made 235 out of 534 field goals for 44%. They average 26 made field goals per game. They've allowed 230 made field goals on 518 attempts for 44.4% field goal percentage allowed. They're averaging 25.6 field goals made per game. In terms of threes per game, the Broncos have made 72 out of 214 for 34%, or 8 threes per game. Definitely love to see those numbers be even higher for Boise State. And sometimes their volume of 3-point shooting in some games, we'd definitely love to see that be higher. But defensively, they've allowed 65 threes out of 189 attempts, or 34%, and only allowed 7.2 made threes per game. Broncos are 162 out of 215 from 30 stripe for 75%. They average 18 made free throws per game. Broncos have 352 boards this season, averaging just a hair under 40 boards per game. They've allowed 264 boards, or 29 boards per game. Defensively, Broncos have 127 assists, or 14.1 assists per game. Broncos have 111 turn the ball over 111 times. They average 12.3 turnovers per game, and they average 14.3 off opponent turnovers. Whereas the Broncos have forced 99 turnovers, or 11 turnovers forced per game. And they allow opponents to score 15.2 points off our turnovers. Broncos have 41 steals on the season for 4.6 and 18 blocks this year for 2 blocks per game. So even though the metrics at KenPom and Vegas think this is going to be a double-digit win, it all depends on the intensity, effort, discipline, and focus the Broncos have on defense and on offense. I mean, they have similar defensive tenacity and rebounding tenacity like they did against Baylor and against USC. They can pull out this win. Again, they also need to be making shots and can't go stretches where they're trading empty possessions. Like they miss a shot, the opponent misses a shot, and they don't make the ensuing possession. They can't afford to be doing that for extended periods multiple times in the game. They have to take advantage. If Duquesne misses a shot, they have to find a way to make a shot, either 2 or 3, or find a way to get fouled and go to the foul line. Have to be getting at least 1 point per possession. Every time they have possession, they have to score. Basically, yeah, they can't afford to be trading possessions with a good scoring team like Duquesne, or else it can wind up having a bad loss at home, and we already have one. I mean, right now, one of the big bracketologists on Twitter today posted that he has Boise State as the next 4 out in terms of bubble watch, but loss against Duquesne at home would definitely kill that for the season. So yeah, the Broncos definitely need to rebound the ball well, not allow open threes or multiple open threes. They have to contest the 3-ball well. They have to have solid defense because, again, they're going up against a Duquesne team that is really good at scoring, averaging about, 85 points per game? Or 86, just a little over 86, under 87 points per game. So yeah, this is a pretty good offensive unit they're going up against. A team that can score at will. And yeah, gonna have to have hell of a great defensive effort. I mean, yeah, this could be a double-digit win for the Broncos, but it could just as easily be, a close win for the Broncos as well, which will hurt their net rankings and their KenPom rankings if it's a close win by like 2 possessions for net and KenPom. They definitely have to win, I'd say, by at least 18 points. Anything less than 10 points is probably going to hurt their metrics. So, yeah, the Broncos definitely got to bring their A game for this one. Other notes about this game, the Broncos are doing a bit of a toy drive, where if you bring like a new unwrapped toy or something like that, or like an old teddy bear or something like that, you get like $5 tickets. They're doing a teddy bear tots. They're also encouraging fans to dress up in like ugly sweaters, because this is their only home game before Christmas. because after this they don't play at home until the 30th. Or maybe it might be New Year's Eve. No, it's the 30th is their next home game. And because Broncos defensively only allowed 4 threes made to Butler, there's balcony seats available at the game tomorrow night for $4. So this is the second to last non-conference game for the Broncos. Game they have tonight, and then Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. They'll take out St. Mary's and Idle Falls. So again, Broncos will look to extend their home win streak this season to move to 7-3 and move to 7-3 on the year before they take on a pretty dang good St. Mary's team in neutral site games. So first off, got to get this win. And for metrics and like KenPom and stuff like that, they have to really put the belt to ass. I'd say win by at least 18 points. This is a mentioned KenPom has this be a 13-point win for the Broncos. If they win by at least 18, if the Broncos win by at least 18, that's going to help the KenPom rankings. And would also mean the Broncos would cover the Vegas line. I could look at other Vegas lines quickly. In general, the Vegas lines have it be like a 13.5 to a 14.5 point win for the Broncos. Like Vegas Insider. Oh, this is it. Yeah, so again, like some places have it be like 13.5, and like BetESPN has it like a 15.5 point game or something like that for the Broncos. So yeah, Broncos to win at least by 18. That should help them advance in both KenPom and the net, and would also mean the Bronco men will cover on tomorrow night. So I prefer an 18 plus point win for the Broncos, and yeah, again, that's going to mean they're going to have to rebound the ball well, going to have to be stingy on defense, forcing a lot of turnovers. Like I see probably 17, 18 turnovers. They forced them to 18 turnovers by Duquesne. That'll help too. Again, allowed to only make 6 threes or lower. And yeah, I think they can. Yeah, I think Boise State should still win this game. according to ESPN, ESPN gives the Broncos 86.2% prediction to win, whereas Duquesne only is at 13.8%. And no, Duquesne has only played one road game and they're 0-1 on the road. So here's to Bronco men's basketball win tomorrow night against Duquesne. Tomorrow being December 10th, and keep the winning streak going into Sunday in a big matchup on a neutral site. But that's it. Go Broncos.